me try this all again. Blah, 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 blah. I'll jump from here.
I choose violence.
Welcome to Balance Sports, a show at the cross-section of women's basketball and a gay-ass time.
This is what happens when two best friends catch up twice a week to talk hoops in front of a green screen.
From interviews with legends to blunders on camera, covering Coach's game plan and also her wardrobe.
We're here to grow the game and have a good time.
This is Balance Sports.
I appreciate y'all.
This is Breon January.
I'm Jewelz. I'm Brianna Stewart.
This is Ezzy, and you're watching Balance Sports.
Welcome back to Balance Sports. I'm Jewelz.
I'm Hunter. I'm out of practice.
Guess who's back in the house?
Tan, full of WNBA basketball, and too much water and sun.
Did you have a good time? You do definitely look tan.
Lovely time.
I hate us. God, I hate us. So 8:40 is when they start. I
had a great time on this trip. I was able to watch some WNBA basketball. Mm-hmm. We turned the entire, they had a lounge area that they had definitely some other sports on. And we found the WNBA and were able to turn all the TVs onto WNBA.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was very cool.
That's awesome. Shall we start with the games or do you want to start with the awards? Like, what do you think?
Ooh, the awards. That's
okay.
Fun. The games are great too, but the awards, let's celebrate.
Yes, let's start with celebrations. A'ja Wilson is the Defensive Player of the Year.
Her first time to ever win this award. Mm-hmm. I keep thinking the way she's been playing offense the last couple of games, and she won the Defensive Player of the Year award. It just speaks to her versatility. I love this. I love this award for her.
Very happy for A'ja Wilson. Did you see her tweet afterwards?
Of course I did.
The first person that I saw, I think it was like WNBA fans only like account, and it said, "I blame Sydney Colson from this," and I loved that. Yeah, that was very funny. And very deserving of the Defensive Player of the Year award. It makes me nervous for MVP. The world we live in won't let her shine. That's how I'm feeling. Hopeful. She's doing all things on both sides of the ball. So just saying, but congratulations, Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm with you on thinking that. I like that they moved it up to be able to honor her in her home court. They were able to honor a lot of awards that night over in Vegas because also Jackie Young received the most improved player in the WNBA this season.
Yes, she did.
She upped her three-point percentage, I believe, around 20 to 25% from what it was last season. One shot, increasing it that much, I think is just incredible. She played lights out.
Yeah, she has been playing really well-deserved award, and they also presented Becky Hammon with Coach of the Year that same night. So they was just doing it. Bree Jones got Sixth Woman of the Year.
Cooked it up.
Cooking. TV Guide.
Yeah, I feel like ran away with that award. Yeah. If you look at I've been seeing a lot online. Thanks people for sharing the voting breakdowns. And she really ran away with that one.
Congrats to Bree Jones. So let's talk about the defensive teams. Those have been announced. The All WNBA have not? Correct. Your face. Go ahead. Hit us with it.
Congratulations to Ariel Atkins for getting on the first team all defensive team in the WNBA and at Balance Sports.
Yeah. Could you read the rest of the crew?
No, the first team consists of A'ja Wilson, Natasha Cloud, Sylvia Fowles, Brianna Stewart, and Ariel Atkins.
Clap, 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 clap.
Really cool for Sylvia to get this in her final year. I was looking at who was on the first team last season. She was on it last season as well. A'ja, everybody on this list makes so much sense, especially Ariel Atkins.
It does make sense. Tinfoil hat. The way that everyone said the word dominance when explaining Sylvia Fowles feels a little conspiracy-like. They called up Sil and they said, "Congratulations, this is going to be your last year. Thanks for sharing that with us. What word would you use to describe, yourself and your career? Like, what do you want to? What's your legacy?" And she said, "Dominance. That is what I am. That is what I have been." They put that in a group chat, and then everyone has been saying dominance because there are other words you could use, but no one has. They've all been saying dominance, and I don't think it's a bad thing. She was on the team last year. She's on it this year. She's been doing it, but it's just rolling around in my head that this was a coordinated effort, which isn't bad.
You're not arguing that she's not dominant. You're just saying that it seems concerted that we're using one singular word.
Just the one.
And
Nothing
it's
else.
crazy that dominant and defensive are so similar. Conspiracy, our new segment.
Yes.
How about the all defensive second team?
I'm so happy to see Ezzy.
Yes, I was really happy to see her on there.
Yes.
And Gabby. The Storm had 3 players out of the 10-player list.
Absolutely. Yeah. So along with Ezzy, we have Gabby Williams, we have Alyssa Thomas, Jonquel Jones, and Brittany Sykes.
Really great.
Incredible list. Like very, very true to the game. That's how I'm feeling about it. I did think it was interesting that Washington Mystics had the best defense in the league, and they only had 2 players, and we had 3. I didn't think our defense was like. I mean, Noelle Quinn has always said that like we hang our hats on defense, but I thought that they would have as many as we did.
Yeah, we were second in defensive rating behind them, so it wasn't that large of a gap. And I don't know. I agree with that. I also thought Brianna Turner really was deserving of this, but then you look at the list, and I don't know who I would take off. I would add Brianna Turner, but that would mean I would have to take someone off this list, and
you're not gonna do that.
And I can't fit that in right now the way it works.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there is a Mystics player, but I also don't know which Mystics player I would take off because it's not Ariel Atkins.
Let's get into semifinal action. We'll start with the Sky and the Sun. Game 2, the Sky won 85-77. What were your thoughts on
What
this
do you
game?
think my thoughts were?
2 words. Those words are Candace Bawaka.
She's ridiculous. It's unfair. It's rude. It's disrespectful the way she's playing right now.
Whoo, wait. Yeah, no, she is balling. So the Sky had all five starters in double digits. Candace Parker had 22. Emma Miesemann had 14. Ale Quigley had 13. Kalia Copper had 12. And Vandersloot had 10.
This is great. The first game, Vandersloot, Quigley, and Stevens had a really poor shooting night. Like, I would say it was probably combined one of their worst of the season. So they picked it back up. It was just a great team effort from the Sky. They looked a lot more themselves this game.
Absolutely. It looked like the adjustments they made just overwhelmed Connecticut. Like, I was watching that game and it was just like, y'all are sunning them. Like, it looked like at times like you don't belong on the court with us. Like, it was, they played with just a lot of dominance and dominance again. Yeah, they just played like this is our game. It's cute that y'all came. Like,
yeah, there's an 8-point difference at the end of the game, and it didn't really feel like that. Connecticut outscored them by 9 in the fourth quarter to kind of make that closer, but it just felt like Chicago was in demand the entire time.
I was worried at maybe the third quarter. I was like, are they going to break 50? Because the first quarter they had 18. The second quarter, Connecticut had 16 points. Like, it just wasn't, I was like, y'all can't shoot. It was another like broadside of the barn type situation.
Yeah, DeWanna Bonner had 2 points. She was 0 of 6. Alyssa Thomas was 3 of 8 for 7 points. So a really poor shooting night in comparison to what they've been doing. They've been really lighting it up this playoffs.
Yeah. JJ had 22 and Heidemann had 14. They were the only Sun players in double digits. And JJ had another bad body language game to me. Like, she got a technical. She was very, I think she dropped the F-bomb to one of the, Rebecca Gardner, I think it was. They had a little interaction, but just moving forward, like past that moment, she just looked like she just wasn't bad juju, bad vibes again. We were back to it. I don't know. I felt bad. I feel bad for JJ. Like, she was carrying them and nobody was helping.
They seem like such an energy team. I'll totally agree. Sometimes I don't know who maybe is the player that gets that going, but it definitely feels like one player will have an energy and it just really spreads quickly, regardless of if it's a high or a low. On Chicago's side, I think that's why I feel so certain about them. They feel just so steady. Even in the games they lose, I feel really confident in, like, okay, it was an off game. I feel confident that they always bounce back, and I feel confident in Candace Parker.
DeWanna Bonner, you talk about that 3 that she made.
Oh, I was talking about the game prior. The energy she had prior. When she had that 3 going into halftime, I feel like she turned the energy for Connecticut for game 1. I'm sorry.
Totally.
And that's what I'm saying. In this game, in comparison, it wasn't there.
Absolutely. She was not there this game. She didn't make her first basket until 14 seconds left in the third quarter. Yeah. So if
Those are free throws. She did not make a field goal in the game.
Correct.
That's wild.
That's what I'm saying. Points.
Yeah. She'd make her first point.
She'd make the first point until that late in the third. And there's no way for them to win if she has such low production. So I don't expect that to happen again, but I also don't expect them to win the next game.
It is back in Connecticut.
It is. But did you see like
But I said what I said.
That's not what I said. I don't.
What I like about these games so far, and what I think is really going to help either one of these teams moving forward into the finals, is look at how deep they're playing their rosters. Look at how their minutes are being spread. There was no one on Chicago's side that played more than 32 minutes, and that was Allie Quigley. For Connecticut, there was nobody that played more than 31 minutes. When we get to the Aces and Storm game, your mind's about to be blown, and I just keep getting... I'm not going to say worried, but keep thinking that Aces Storm feel like it's going to be a knockdown drag out. Mm-hmm. How tired then are they going to be, because the finals are like back to back. They go one day, one off. Anywho, something to keep an eye on.
Okay, let's get into the Storm Aces game. Game 2, the Aces were the victors, 83-78. Thoughts on the game?
This was basketball. It's basketball. It's giving basketball.
It's giving basketball. They're playing basketball.
No, I thought we figured out we don't rap on this.
Drag me.
Not hum, not like we play the music. We talk about it. This was incredible. This was Asia Wilson looking Brianna Stewart in the eyes and saying, "You want to just go one-on-one this game?" And then Chelsea Gray decided to do her thing as well. Incredible game.
Asia and Stewie both had 30-plus point games. Just
give them the crown.
Seriously.
I hate, but I love
Twinner. Is it the Twinner season?
Is it a Twinner?
All right. So on the Storm side, Stewie had 32 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks, and she was 3 for 7 from 3. And Tina Charles had a near double-double with 17 points and 9 boards. If one other player would have gotten not even hot, like lukewarm, like a little bit, the Storm would have won this game.
Absolutely.
Stewie had help in the form of Tina Charles, but not much else. Like the bench gave 4 points. We don't win when the bench gives 4 points. Like they're like, period.
Look, to be fair, we barely played a bench. We were going off. Stewie only came out of the game because she fouled out.
Yeah.
Is that not crazy? She had an incredible game. Her and Asia the entire time. It was like neither one of them were going to let the other one have it.
It was like a boxing match, like trading blows. Like, yeah.
And just incredible basketball. The plays they were making felt ridiculous. I really was like, oh, am I watching live the game like going to the next level? It just felt like such incredible ball. I was watching this with a lot of like basketball minds, some coaches and trainers, and they were able to talk about the game in a way that obviously is a little bit beyond my understanding at times.
Like, right.
Brilliant. They were talking about like why these two teams excel. They were talking about why Becky's system has really just been helping them and some different things they were doing. It helped me have a different, a little bit better appreciation. I'm gonna have to sit down and look at some of these charts a bit longer for me.
We're gonna need to send you with a hot mic next time.
A hot mic. Oh gosh. Talking about, someone from the Storm, just anyone else helping step up. Asia had this tonight. Kelsey Plum and Chelsea Gray had wonderful evenings.
Yes. Aces had 3 players in double digits. Asia Wilson had a double-double with 33 points and 13 boards. She also had 3 blocks. Chelsea Gray had 19 points, and Kelsey had 18.
And it felt like pretty clean games from both teams. I've just enjoyed that the basketball has been really high level in this series. I don't want to make predictions on the series. It feels that close that it feels like every game, whoever has the ball the last minute, the last possession, who plays the last 2 minutes is going to win this. But I love that about playoff basketball.
While we're here, let's talk about the final minutes of the game. How did you feel about Jewel Lloyd getting the last shot for the Storm?
I'm not mad about it because this team has uber faith in her, and they've showed that throughout the season. There was another game this year that she wasn't hitting, and she had a really quiet third quarter, and they kept going back to her, and she's the reason they ended up winning that game. I'm not mad at them for doing that here. I can understand maybe some people's opinion on that because she didn't have a great shooting game, but Jewel Lloyd, if she is anything, she's a gamer, and she has proved that. That's why she is one of the best players in this league. She's capable of making that shot in the last minute. So I have faith in her to do those shots.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. I was not mad at that. I think from a coaching standpoint, you are pouring confidence into this player and saying, no, you haven't shot well this game, but we trust in you. Coach will always say, like, when Jewel's hot, we're hot, or like Jewel, we're gonna go as far as Jewel can take us. Like, this organization believes in Jewel Lloyd, and I think they showed it by giving her the ball even when she wasn't having a great shooting night. So I think any other night that would have fallen, but it didn't. So
absolutely, and I think it's a smart coaching thing. Honestly, you know that the Aces are going to be draped all over Stewie. She's had a phenomenal game. Your next best shooter, truly on the court, is Jewel Lloyd. So give her the opportunity to make that, and she just didn't tonight, and that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, Asia played out of her mind. That just needs to be said.
I mean, there was a quote. I need to go back and exactly find it, but just like, stay true to who you are. I came into this game and I was like, I know my kind of basketball. I'm just gonna go play that, and it just looks effortless. She is wild to watch.
She was just like, just lots of fist pumps and leg kicks, and like the crowd was feeding her, and man, she had an incredible game.
That crowd was incredible. Really hoping that Derica Hamby and Gabby Williams can both come back. They both have missed both games of the series so far. It would be, I can't even imagine the level of basketball, when these kind of players are on the court. But I wanted to just bring up, I have the minutes pulled up here for the starters of this game. They have some days rest now. They're traveling. The series is coming to Seattle. But Jackie Young played 38 minutes. Asia Wilson played 37 minutes. Kelsey Plum played 36. Chelsea Gray played 37 minutes, 10 seconds below 38.
Mama, I'm tired.
The only other players that played really were Raquana Williams and Kia Stokes because they put Eliana Rupert in for 3 minutes. That is just wild to me, the pace of what these teams are playing.
Yeah.
The Storm weren't that different, honestly. They were subbing in a bit more players, but Stewie played 38 and a half minutes. Jewel Lloyd played 38 minutes. Those two players received the majority. We were able to kind of spread out more than that. The next player was Steph Talbot, who let's give her flowers right here. She did not have as big of there's no way she had this big of a role during the season. Gabby Williams being out has forced her into the starting lineup, and she has done a really good job.
She absolutely has. Absolutely.
It's not, we can't compare her to like the athleticism and defensive ability that Gabby Williams is doing. Steph's game is just different, but I thought she's come in, like, hit her shots when needed.
Yeah,
done a really good job.
She's not getting like cooked out there defensively.
Exactly.
So
she's holding her own.
Yeah,
but doing a good job. This statistic is absolutely insane to me. It blows my mind. Coming into this game, the Storm had not lost a playoff game in 13 attempts when Brianna Stewart was in the lineup and healthy. 13 straight playoff games when she was healthy? That's crazy.
That is crazy. I saw a little interview with Chelsea Gray and Sue Bird, and Sue said, "Oh, didn't you know? We either lose in the first round or we win the whole thing." That's what the Storm does. I know you just said you don't like to make predictions, but what's going to happen on game 3? First game, Chicago versus Sun.
I'm going to take Chicago here. It goes back to Connecticut. I do think it's really interesting that both of the higher seeds lost their home court advantage. I wonder how much that's going to affect them. For instance, I think Seattle plays incredibly well at home. I think our fans are great. Connecticut is in Uncasville. That's what I know about them. I don't know about their fans, to be honest. I really just don't. But I'm going to take Chicago in this game.
Samesies. I agree. I think Chicago made great adjustments in the second game, and I think they will continue to make adjustments. I think they are moving faster and smarter than Connecticut is right now, even when Connecticut is playing well. So I'm going to pick Chicago for game 3. Storm versus Aces.
Storm versus Aces. I do think that our home court advantage really helps us here. I think Climate Pledge is rocking. But the Aces are a professional organization, so I have literally no idea.
Becky said in one of the more recent press conferences that the Aces play really well on the road. I am picking the Storm to win game 3. I don't think that we'll have the same. I think more players are going to be putting points on the board. I'm expecting the home crowd to really give them an advantage. I'm picking the Storm.
Jewel Lloyd has often bounced back when she's had a game like that and had a fantastic performance in the game after. I think she will be more help. I think Stewie is going to continue the level she's playing. And yeah, even at the end of the last game, as much of a battle as it was, I kept catching myself being like, but we're going to pull this out. It just felt like the Storm have played really tight, really good basketball in the last minutes, and that speaks to how good the series is as the Aces pull it out. I really see this one going 5. It is just crazy how high level basketball it is, but I think the Storm are going to go up 2-1 here.
Yeah, I really, in the third quarter, I looked over at my spouse and I said, Storm's going to win this game. I just felt it.
I did too. I really felt good about that one.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Storm at home.
Were you letting your mind wander to like, oh, the Storm are up 2-0. We can be relaxed in Seattle. All we need is 1.
Not relaxed. Like in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to win this game because look at how they're playing. And are we going to sweep the Aces? No, we're not going to sweep the Aces. They're going to win the fourth, but then the third game, but then the fourth game was ours. That's the way it was playing out in my mind. But here we are. That didn't happen. So I'm also excited for the opportunity to get some more interviews and get some Aces interviews. So I'm excited about that.
Wait, crossover event. Serena, can we talk Serena real fast on this channel?
Sure.
Serena's been playing. It's her last week. We would be remiss. I would be remiss. This is, if on my Mount Rushmore of athletes, period, point blank.
Yeah.
Serena's face is up there 4 times.
Absolutely.
I'm so serious. I love Serena. I'm so sad. She is evolving away from tennis. But she has done such a cool, amazing job on this like farewell tour. I think it's been so cool that they've showered her with love at the US Open.
Absolutely. I'm not sad. I am so happy that I got to watch her play. Like it is truly just like a thank you for allowing me to see your greatness. She's stepping away when she wants to, this is, the right step for me. We've seen her have some injuries. You don't want to watch someone like decline. And so thank you, Serena. Like,
thank you. Literally, I feel like my love of tennis. I just will go out there. I will do yells like Serena. I still think about it. I want my tutu.
Like
I do the twirl. Oh, the reason I love tennis.
Yes. So I wanted to talk about some of the coaching changes, potential coaching changes. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Indy. I think Brianna January. I think that would be a really, really great coaching change for them. Carlos Knox is not going to come back. And so I think having a player that is as defensive minded as she is would be really, really great for them. I think that's great. Like, she is a Fever legend. So have her coach them.
The most prolific guard in their history. That would be really incredible. She has talked about she's going to coach in the WNBA next season. Maybe a little inside scoop. We may have to be asking her this week. Point blank, you go into Indiana.
Have you interviewed for the job?
Ooh, that's a great selection. I like that. There are several head coach openings that I'm always curious where the pool comes from WNBA coaches. Is it from college coaches? Is it within other assistants in the WNBA? So I'm always really fascinated to hear who's even getting those interviews.
Well, I mean, the Storm got Noelle Quinn, who used to play for the Storm.
I was glad we were able to talk with Brianna January about some players getting into coaching because it seems like that's a huge movement being made. And yeah, just looking around the league, I mean, Becky won Coach of the Year first year, former player. Tanisha Wright was in the running for that award, had a great year. Noelle Quinn.
Just saying.
It's a great movement.
Continuing with the coaches discussion, I saw a thread on Twitter. @from Curtis said, I feel like the thing about the Sparks job is it could very easily be Noelle Quinn coming back home. Seems likely a Storm reset could come anyway. I added to this thread, which I normally don't do. They weren't talking to me, but yes, that Noelle Quinn is from Los Angeles. She spends, you did a great interview with her. She shared that, she spends her summers there when she's not doing professional development everywhere, but I don't like the notion. Yes, people want to go home. Like, some people do. And some people want to create their own thing or, like, go visit home. Just because you're from there doesn't mean you want to live there. I also think that the stability and the winning environment here in Seattle,
The culture,
the support that she has is a reason to stay. Like the Sparks organization is not screaming well organized in this here moment.
It's not screaming well organized. I love that. Wow. I want a shirt. It's screaming well organized. Just a file cabinet.
So I just don't see. I don't see that as a big draw when you're coming from a place like Seattle.
Okay, can I be devil's advocate?
Sure.
Let's say Seattle wins. She's maybe, I'm not saying there's always more to achieve. You always want to win another championship.
Mm-hmm.
Is there more likelihood or less likelihood? Do you see it any difference that she would take an LA job if she accomplishes that? And then let's say Stewie leaves. Let's say Gabby Williams isn't going to be here. Mm-hmm. And she knows. The only reason I consider this is I just don't know what's happening in the Storms franchise, right? And they are, I think, about to experience some turnover. Sue's leaving, Breon January. We don't know what will happen with some of these players in their international clauses.
There's a new facility coming in Seattle. That level of professionalism, that level of like, hey, we are investing in women's basketball is very attractive. I also think that even if Stewie left, both organizations, the Sparks and the Storm, would both be in rebuild, and they just won a championship. I think that draws people in more so than LA. I cannot erase from my mind during the 4-hour live stream of Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird, where Diana Taurasi says that organization is a fucking mess. And she's talking about LA. She's from LA and did not consider leaving to go home. That narrative of like everybody wants to play home. It's like, no, everybody wants to win. And they have a lot more to do in order to get towards winning, get to right this ship. So it's a no for me, dog, with Noelle Quinn leaving.
Yeah, I see her in Seattle. I like that there are spaces like this on Twitter where we get to speculate. I feel like this happens all the time in the NBA. There are places to go, and Curtis is always a really fun voice. I feel like we're talking about this right now, and there is no evidence pointing us that Noelle Quinn is leaving, right? But I love that it's just like, oh yeah, like that is there would be like some drama around that. But I think she's going to be in Seattle. I think the core pieces at Seattle have a really good, and yeah, they're always, I think, really buying into what she's doing and at the forefront of some of what the league is doing in general. So I don't see why you would leave it here. The weather's beautiful.
Lovely gray day.
She loves the Uber Eats.
The walk to Whole Foods. All right, yeah, so we have game 3. We have game 3s on Sunday. More awards coming out in the coming week.
This would be really interesting. So they moved up the Defensive Player of the Year award, so it would be announced. I don't know if this is the exact reason. It seemed as though it would be announced in Las Vegas. Conspiracy is that it got moved up so it could be announced so Asia would be honored at home. That's really great. I'm wondering if, since the award is supposed to be announced the 7th, but game 4 would be the 6th, if Stewie were to win, if we may be hearing a little something on September 6th. I'm just curious, y'all.
That is a great conspiracy theory speculation.
I know what shirt and little necklace with a crown on it I'll be wearing that evening. Mm-hmm. That would be so biased.
Oh my gosh.
Imagine Asia.
Hey, Asia, with my Stewie for MVP shirt. Hey, let's talk, girl. Okay. To close out the show, I wanted to highlight another WNBA show, and that show is Bird's Eye View with Erica McCall.
Love it.
McCall. So in her season finale, she has an interview with Tiffany Mitchell, and it's very good. Highly recommend you go listen to it. Okay, so in the season finale, she has a episode. Do I need to get you to the season finale? She speaks with Tiffany Mitchell, and it's a great interview. Tiffany talks about the rookies, the rookie experiment, if you will. And from my perspective on listening to it, I don't think anybody else would draft that many rookies. I think the rookie experiment failed. Both Erica and Tiffany reflected on their rookie years and like what it was like to come into an organization and just like, you know, schemes and this and like how hard it is to transition from the college game to the professional league. It's just more, better, different, right? When you have 7 rookies, it slows the game down. And I think that it was a failure. Yeah.
I really enjoyed hearing that perspective because, we had Stewie earlier this year saying, I'm a bit more of a veteran in this league now. I know how teams scout me. I know how they're going to defend me. I know the schemes that they're running usually as an organization, and I understand my own teams better. So I'm more confident as a player. That's a great point to think that at times almost every player on the floor for them was just figuring out not just the WNBA, but how they're going to be guarded by these players. They were learning their own teams, really in-depth, totally new schemes. This wasn't just plugging in one or two players. It was plugging in a whole team.
Plugging in a whole team made it very, very difficult for them.
What did Tiffany have to say just about her season being impacted by that?
I loved how honest she was. She said at the beginning of the season, I didn't like how my role was. I didn't like how I was being utilized. Like, she didn't play a lot of minutes. So why? Because they're playing these rookies and giving them time. So I would be surprised if she's back just because of how honest this was. At the same time, there is, going to be a new coach. So maybe that will be like, oh, okay, you're bringing in Breon January. So perhaps not. Perhaps she stays. But she didn't seem thrilled with the organization.
Yeah, think of the veterans that are impacted by, obviously, if an organization is going to lean so heavily into allowing rookies this amount of space and trying to bring them on, it's going to be at the sacrifice of more veteran players who do know the systems having to give that time, because you can't obviously learn these things unless you have that on-court time.
Okay. For Balance Sports, I'm Jewelz.
I'm Hunter.
Just stop. Just give me like 2 minutes to get this out.
So cute, but don't break it.